Hey everybody, welcome back to the Jeep Journals. It is August 19th and I have not been as successful as I thought, but I hadn't been putting in the same effort as was required to be as successful as I would have thought. So today, on this particular episode, I want to talk about something that's called sometimes demons. Battling with our demons, our innermost demons. What if many of our innermost demons are in our innermost circles? What if, for an example, you were to, and I'm just going to go about this in a non-denominational kind of way, but what if you were to take and give to somebody a gift of water in a bottle? What would that person do if you said that water in the bottle was holy water? What do you think that person would do if you said that water that you were receiving was contaminating the purity of our environment around us? You see, our innermost demons often come to a point where we have to confront directly to ourselves what it is that we're seeing around us. And right now, I'm passing basically a field between the roadways here, and I was passing a fast food box that formerly contained a hamburger. So today's August 19th. I hadn't been achieving the level of success that I thought I would be by this point in time. By this point in time, I thought I would have lost some absolutely significant weight, and I did. However, on paper, the way it is right now, on August the 1st, I was 118.6 kilos. Today, August the 19th, I'm 117.2 kilos. So for the people who think in pounds, I started at 261.5 pounds, and now I'm 258.4 pounds. So I'm still making progress. This is not a setback. I have the entire month to deal with what it is that I wanted to show you in this adventure. There's a plane flying over. Can you hear it? I'm not sure. Ooh, it's a jet. I don't know if it showed up in the frame or not. I'm at a complete stop, so I can occasionally glance up and try to see what you're seeing. The light's green. I still look both ways. Deep thinkers. And I recommend that you do the same. Just because something says it's okay doesn't mean you shouldn't check yourself to ensure the safety of yourself. I don't know if you watched all of my former segments, but somewhere in this mix of segments, in fact, in this series itself, I've recorded an incident where, and I'm passing so many pieces of debris on the ground, I recorded an incident where the bears were gathering in the campgrounds of a favorite park of mine that I've been visiting for 30 years. And this is only the second time that I've seen a situation like this, where the wildlife was gathering in ways that were formerly unheard of. It's because we have some unheard of conditions going on. Some people aren't there to witness it in person, and other people are free to move about and tell the story. Not just because we have care and consideration for others, but because we recognize that some people might have some inner demons that they're battling with. And so we do our best to put our best foot forward and continue the journey of success, no matter what the results on paper look like. No matter what the results on paper look like. Doesn't matter who's seeing what story. What does matter is that you can understand that if I tell you we're functioning with just a fragment of our brain power, and it just requires just a little bit of inspiration to wake up the brain in order to be able to perceive everything around it and make decisions based on a prioritization that sometimes decides it needs to look both ways, even if it's got a clear path. It needs to look both ways, even if it's got a green light. The demon doesn't like to hear this. The demon will disqualify all kinds of gestures of shared knowledge, including water in a bottle. The demon will discredit all of it and nullify the knowledge that would have transpired if only there wasn't an egocentric reason for discriminating. Just because I point out all the rubbish around me doesn't mean I'm discriminating. It means I'm recognizing there's a cooler missing a top. I've seen so many of those. I wonder how many tops I could find, and I wonder if I ran a huge cost effective company and I had like a huge warehouse, if I could inventory these items that I'm finding, put them together. There's another container box. This one was of the larger styrofoam size that's typically from any general restaurant where you would take too much to begin with, only to take some home in another container. There's a huge plastic trash can, round. And here on the fringe of society, an armadillo, so rare that I see a roadkill anymore, but it still happens. So wildlife is still persisting. This whole story might seem convoluted, disjointed, and out of order to you. But let me tell you, I have not deviated from the path of simply telling you that there's some good news out there. It makes me smile. It makes me laugh. It makes me creative. It makes me love. And because I'm able to do all of that, I'm able to do all of the things I'm saying while still seeing, oh, there was a large plastic container of some kind of some liquid. I don't know. It was industrial sized. There's rubber all over the roadway. There's plastic bags from what I assume are the local shopping centers that are right here. And none of the money is going towards the cleanup. How are we going to clean up our conversations? Another plastic, I guess a container. It's like one of those big giant plastic paint buckets. A shop can. So the construction aspect is happening. People are paying for things to get done. People are paying for things to eat. People are paying for experiences. But who's getting stuck with footing the bill? When I put my best foot forward, I do so hoping that I can accomplish something that alleviates the troubles in your own life. As I go for my physical activity today, I know that it's going to be required of me to perform at a physical level as I see all of this trash around me and recognize that the new jobs are coming. They just haven't been funded. Maybe there needs to be a management type entity. Maybe there's a higher power. If you think about that for just a while, you can understand that in no matter what form that water came to you, that blessed water, especially during this time of drought, no matter what time that blessed, today, it's no coincidence that I'm recording this today. Last year, on this day, I was in Big Bend National Park. So you ask, how does this all tie together? It ties together because I'm telling you a story about my experience, which includes a lot more of the thing that in most cases is not in your life, nature. There are so many prayers, spiritual and otherwise, that talk about the spirits in nature, the tendencies of nature, the evils of nature. Well, there's a little bit of evil in collecting plastic bottles at a store that has something in it that we can freely obtain from our taps at home. Remember, we used to drink from that when it wasn't considered toilet water, when we didn't have to drink it just because it has electrolytes. A lot of you will get the reference, some of you won't. But I'm having a good time. I'm having a great time, actually. I'm doing everything I can to balance the books. If I want a guitar that's $17,000, well, somehow I have to make $17,000. But more than that, I have to give that investment opportunity $17,000 worth of appreciation. Now, I've got some guitars that were free, and they've had and received way more than the dollar amount they originally purchased for in terms of appreciation. I don't know how much you can see. But my fingertips are hurt. They're hurting, I should say. They're not hurt. They're aching. They're aching from playing the guitar so much. Now, in some of these segments, you'll see that I talked about songs, that I was making some songs. And in those segments, I said, in 2020, in the year 2020, I wrote an entire catalog of songs called Hindsight. Hindsight is 2020. If you ever notice me talking, you'll see that I have to pause sometimes to really think about what I'm saying, because my mind gets names, dates, and numbers very twisted sometimes. So if I'm telling a story, you know that I saw the generalities of all of what happened, but sometimes you'll need clarification as to who I'm talking about if I saw something happen. The good thing about this media that you're watching this video in, is that you're able to watch and follow a story for as long as you've got time. We've only been talking for 13 minutes, but we've covered a world and beyond, a spiritual world of information. One that glorifies a higher power, our higher power. What you believe in is collectively what I believe in. And I still believe that there was a bringer of peace. No matter whether this was a supernatural, God-descended individual or simply a man, none of that matters. That's just an argument to keep us from the information that bringer of peace was talking about. Everything else can go in the garbage and get properly addressed. All this garbage that's strewn about on the roadways is distracting my attention from seeing everything around me slowing down. But it doesn't distract my attention. In my former life, I used to be blind-sighted. I wrote a song called Blindsided. It's beautiful. All my songs are pretty amazing. I feel like I didn't even compose them. What's unique is that I could not sing. When I was terrified out of my mind sharing those things with you. Terrified out of my mind that the world is coming to a sudden conclusion. And there's nothing I can do to restore my communications with you. You might wonder who I'm talking with, who I'm addressing. You might not. You might never see this video. I have to roll the dice, play in favor of somebody is listening. Somebody will help answer our prayers. When I pray for the salvation of our wild counterparts, which some people might call evil, what I'm praying for is that we save ourselves from the decimation and devastation that we've levied towards one another with each and every frivolous, unnecessary purchase. Did you see that? There was something weird that happened. It was like I saw a vision before it happened. And sure enough, the vehicle in front of me was in the improper lane at the last second, so they swerved into my lane. But I had responded previous to the event happening physiologically. It's like I had foresight, the spirit of discernment. There's a spirit of truth and a spirit of error. The truth is, if and when I offer you a gift and you simply throw it away, the truth is, that's a demon. For what child of our higher power would throw away something that another child of a higher power gave to them because it brought them a smile and they thought about you? If you don't believe in the angels of a higher power coming to your salvation, well, that's probably because you never asked for it. Once you've witnessed things happen just for you, and once you've learned to follow the master plan, things will unfold. People will begin paying you attention who haven't paid attention before. And the only thing we're here to do is to enlighten one another to the power above, not to ourselves. If I was trying to do it for myself, I would have learned to sing before I showed you any of the songs that I shared with you. I'm doing it because it's needed. Some may hastily steal property from one another, or even space or time. But in this time share, this shared experience, where we're passing so much rubber and plastic and still snapping it up, because that's what it says in the policy. We can't change until some year in the future. Those learnings are long since deceased. And for the people who tell me I need to cease and desist because of these thoughts, and who find ways to excuse themselves out of my life, well, goodbye for now. Don't worry, you'll hear me. You'll hear me in time. Because that's the master plan. We all hear one another. We can all feel righteous. Like the vehicle that stole my space earlier that I was talking about. They're still right in front of me, despite all of their efforts to hastily take something that really didn't belong to them. This is a shared experience. To take something that didn't belong to them, just because we might find out we're walking together on these same shared trails. So if someone has stolen property from you, deep thinkers, don't worry. Don't fight over it. Don't even fret. And sure enough, this person who quote unquote stole my space is now slowing down in front of me. Why would someone do that? Why would someone be in such a rush to steal something that would slow down the person that would help them out the most? It's simple greed. It's simple lack of consideration for the hereafter. It's a disregard. It's a blasphemy. How do we know if someone has spirits? We all do. There is the spirit of truth, like more food containers, plastic bags, some white flowers, plastic bottle of something that used to be water, but it was brown or purple on the inside. Could have been water, could have been vodka, could have been vodka. These things are happening all around us. Have we got time to tend to it? Well, like I said, physically, someone's going to be left to pick up the pieces. I've got time to do the work, the hard work that's necessary. Also, passing a beer can. Also, we might want to think ahead. I've got time to do the work. Also, other people should have time to tend to what they are consuming. That's the simple requirement in nature. Nature itself tends to itself. So even if it's evil, we can learn something from nature. Even if it's the most blasphemous thing that you've ever seen. And I may not be wrong on this, but there's a vehicle just like the one that slowed me down before after taking a space that didn't belong to it. I think they're 2 cars back. Oh, okay. So they didn't wind up coming all the way to the same exact place I was going. Well, that's the moral of the story. Not everyone's going to be going to the same place where you're going. There are going to be a lot of people who are tricked and deceived out of their rights. Their rights were tricked from them, and the energy was collectively taken by some entity that causes us great shame when it comes to telling the truth. The truth is, no matter what form of plastic or glass that precious water came to us in, whether it was just from the clouds above, we prayed for it so much it happened for one another. We are lucky to have received any acknowledgement whatsoever from our higher power and from our counterparts on these trails. So if you liked this video, and I hope you did, then I hope you give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, I hope you give it a thumbs down and enter something in the description, in the comments, to help me to understand what it is that you did not enjoy. So I'm doing something I haven't done before. That was the little tire curb stopper. I'm actually going to stop this right here. I think we've said enough. Truth is truth. Lies are lies. Peace is peace. We know the difference. With all of this in mind, if somebody offers you water and the earth is parched, accept it. Give thanks. If that somebody is the higher power offering you water, don't overlook it. Don't take it for granted. For a lot of time in my life, I took things for granted. The secret is you really do have to appreciate what it is that you're doing. And you can't do that if you're living a conflicted lifestyle where you carry around this grudge towards somebody, never once intending to hear what they're really saying. So that's how you know if someone has a demon in them. You just basically have to use the spirit of discernment, the spirit of truth, to look for the errors. And if you find none and your mind was quizzing you in certain ways that come up over and over and over, then you might want to see what it is that causes the uneasiness. So to all the demons out there, don't worry. Your time has not come. It might be your time to change your tune, but only the true higher power can levy any judgment against anything. So my take on it is, if I see you on the trail, I sure hope we can share a great story. If we're in Colorado, I hope we can share some of the fresh mountain air. If we're in Texas, I hope we can enjoy the beautiful trails of Big Bend National Park. If we're in Utah, definitely want to enjoy the Moab Arches area. But mostly, if you're just inside right now, inside your own head, I definitely want to enjoy an out-of-body experience with you. How do you do that? By having a communication that comes out of your mouth, or even out of your fingertips, even out of your fingertips musically. All of these things are things that are worth thinking about, even just for a few minutes a day. Now, again, today's August the 19th. So I hope you're having a great day out there. This will not showcase until sometime in September. I think October is going to have a bunch of clips from Big Bend that I took earlier this month. Maybe November and December you'll get to see some of the song progress that I've been putting out there to pair to this climate-related shared portion of our collective experience that we've been having. Maybe somebody will look at the leadership that exists and recognize that maybe we're just not allocating our money properly. Did you hear that thump? Confirmation. Anyway, till next time, thank you so much for watching and sharing. Peace, love, and all that old school stuff.